Hey everyone, it is Monday. That means it's time for some more Shadows over Innistrad. We're just a few weeks away from Eldritch Moon being out on Magic Online, so there's only so many Shadows over Innistrad drafts left, but there's still a few more to do. So I'll be back with you guys when the first pack opens. Okay, well this is kind of silly. I think this is maybe the third tireless tracker in a row in my draft videos, but I once again can't really say no to him, so I'm going to take him. Fiery Temper is, of course, very good. So is, Keswick Forge Master is pretty good. And Just the Wind. So is Ongoing Investigation, of course, if you really get things going with it. I think we wouldn't mind getting it back since we have Tireless Tracker, but this pack on the whole isn't super impressive. Most of the cards are playable. Actually, I think all of them are. You don't usually say that. Oh, no, not the Vessel. But they're all playable, but not many of them are above sort of just like replacement level, other than the Forge Master, Ongoing Investigation, and Fiery Temper, and Just the Wind, I think. Rancid Rats, maybe. But we're going to take a tracker. Okay. No removal to speak of, which is usually a good way to go. Gloom Widow is fine. I think Quildwolf's probably better, though. None of the cards in this pack really make me want to move out of green at all. Autumnal Gloom's nice. I could take it. It probably has the highest ceiling of all the cards here, but I would have to actually be able to get Delirium. And if I'm not able to, I probably wouldn't get it. So it's kind of like taking a gold card. I wouldn't play it. So I think I may just take a second pick Quildwolf, which kind of hurts my soul a little bit, but that's what I'm going to do here. Stay green. Okay, Hermit I like. Silver Strike I like a fair amount. Rabid Bite I like more, though. I think we take Rabid Bite. Just keep drafting green stuff. I wouldn't mind taking a Provisioner or a Naternals if we see those in the next few packs either, but we'll take Rabid Bite here. So Tireless Tracker has loved me of late, and I think... I'm recording these all far ahead of time, so it's hard for me to remember what order they're posted in, but I'm pretty sure 2 Tireless Tracker decks in a row before this one. It's kind of nuts. But one of them I splashed it, and the other one, it was, in my primary colors. Okay, nothing green here that makes us really want to stay green. Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, Stormrider Spirit, Compelling Deterrence, probably the cards I'm looking at the most. Inspiring Captain isn't bad. I'm kind of leaning just towards the Deterrence, though. It's not exactly a removal spell, but it's a good tempo spell, and we might end up with like some Stitched Manglers, which make it even better. Stormrider Spirit is pretty good too, but I think I'm just going to go for the bounce spell here. Okay. Well, we could sort of build like a tempo deck, a blue-green tempo deck if we take something like Press for Answers. We already have a reason to want clues anyway, so Gone Missing is good too, but I think Press for Answers is probably a little better. Dance with Devils is pretty good, actually. I think I'm actually going to take a flyer on that and see if red-green's open. Okay, there's a Vessel of Nascency. Pretty late, Ghoul Steed. We could also now move into like a green-white tempo deck, although blue-white's, of course, where that's the best. Vessel, Watching the Web, but also Voldaren Duelist. So red-green seems open enough if this guy's still around, I think. Yeah, I think that was a good call. Pyrehound and Dual Shot are both playable, the cards that I like. The question is, who knows? Maybe green ends up not being open enough when we switch into blue-red, which Pyrehound would fit well into. And he's probably going to be okay in our deck with what we have already, so I'd probably take him over Dual Shot. Although Dual Shot's definitely a playable card. I'm going to take the Pyrehound here. Okay. So there's a good card if we're red-white. There's also Jace's Scrutiny, which is pretty good. There's also an Insolent Neonate, though. Red-green spells, I don't know. Jace's Scrutiny or Insolent Neonate is what it comes down to. We don't have any Madness yet, so he's not as good as he could be. We do have a reason to want clues, but we have two pretty good red cards and one good blue card. So I think I'm gonna use that as a tiebreaker and take the red playable. Pretty late Rancid Rats. Wouldn't mind Thornhide Wolves. Another Gone Missing. Malevolent Whispers isn't bad, especially if we end up in the blue-red spells deck or red-green, whatever the hell we're going to end up in here. So I think we either want to end up in blue or red, and I think red's proving itself to be a little more open. Green seems decently open. Thornhide Wolves, is playable, but I'm going to take Malevolent Whispers here. Makes our Instantly Neonate a little better, too. And it's good with Pyre Hound if we end up in a weird red-green spells deck. But right now, I mean, we have 3 instants and sorceries already, so that's, usually I'm happy to play Pyre Hound with like 6 or so. More is obviously better, but yeah, I mean, and I guess we can leave this over here. We could just end up in blue-red altogether and end up splashing Tireless Tracker like we did a couple weeks ago. It wasn't a blue-red deck. I think it was a blue-black deck splashing Tireless Tracker a few weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, getting a late Dance with Devils, a late Malevolent Whispers, late Voldaren Duelist, and a Pyre Hound, and Insolent Neonate to a certain extent, I think are all pretty good signs. So another Gone Missing. Or a Kessig Dire Swine. I mean, I think the Dire Swine's a good finisher if we end up in red-green. I'm going to take it. There is a chance, though, we end up in blue-red, like I said, and just sort of trim these things out. Okay. Well, we have Reduced to Ashes and another Dual Shot and Intrepid Provisioner. I only have one removal spell so far, so I'm kind of leaning towards Reduce. The Provisioner only has one creature it pumps so far. I mean, we'll probably pick up a few more, but I'm going to take it's not an amazing removal spell, but you're usually happy to have one of them, in my experience. So not a land that lets us splash our tracker, but I'll take Magmatic Chasm for my sideboard. And now I'll take a Shard. So blue doesn't strike me as being amazingly open. I think we probably do end up in a sort of weird red-green deck. Normally it's supposed to be werewolves, right? But we picked up one wolf and some good pieces for a spells deck, weirdly. Okay, our rare is nothing exciting. I mean, it's a card you're usually happy to play if you're blue, but certainly not exciting. We have a free Madness outlet, and red does have a lot of madness. Speaking of which, here's a Blood Mad Vampire. There's also an Ulric's Kindred, which were in those two colors. And there's a decent chance we get more wolves and werewolves. Like Blood Mad Vampire as well. So I think it's Blood Mad. It's these 3 pretty good red cards that we're trying to choose between here. The green and this, all we have is Fork in the Road, obviously. So which do we want more? Blood Mad Vampire is good with Rabid Bite, that's for sure. He's also good with Spiteful Motives, which is a card you can usually pick up in these decks. This is really sweet if we pick up some Fiery Tempers and stuff like that. But without them, it's not that exciting. I mean, he's still fine. He's a 2-mana 1/3 with the ability to basically flip his power and toughness. But I think I'm going to take the Kindred. I think it's more likely we pick up some wolves and werewolves than it is that we pick up some madness cards. We could have another Compelling Deterrence or Just the Wind. Once again, though, we're sort of left with not the most amazing second pick ever. I mean, I think it is Quilled Wolf. It does give us another wolf for our Kindred. Wildly Scarecrow could help us splash. But now it looks like we're just going to be red-green and not splashing. So I think I take the wolves here. This card is better for sure, and I think Uninvited Guest. I think all 3 of the blue cards in this pack are better than Quilled Wolf. And I guess, I mean, maybe we could still end up... Are they enough better? I mean, there's still a chance I could end up switching into a blue-red spells deck. Like, if I see some more Pyre Hounds, I'm really going to be tempted to do that. Hard decision. I wish I could see the future. We could take this, which will help us splash, I guess, but I don't think we want to. Yeah, I'm going to take just the win. See if this blue-red spells deck is as open as I'd like. Well, this will go in either one, luckily. Call of Bloodline's pretty sweet, but not for us. But I think we just take Scourge Wolf. It'll go in either version of whatever deck we end up with. So that's nice. Another Rabid Bite. Okay, well, so, I think it was worth taking the flyer we did. We weren't giving up anything huge. We gave up a Quilled Wolf. Now I think we just take a Rabid Bite and take ourselves into red-green. And Rabid Bite is, of course, pretty good with Pyrehound, so... of course, now, I guess I just take a Neglected Heirloom here. We don't have anything that transforms. In these two colors, that's nuts. There's another good blue card for the blue-red spells deck, but I think I take the Heirloom. There's also an Ember Eye Wolf, which isn't bad. And we do have some wolf synergies, and we may pick up more. But I think the Heirloom probably edges it out by a little bit. Ooh, Pyrehound number 2. There it is. I think I like that more than Kessig Direswine. Oh, boy. Well, vampires, we just have one of you, don't we? Yeah. No, 2. But Masquerade, you need more than that. Although I did, the other day, draft a really, really weird blue-red spells deck that also had like 7 vampires in it and ran Stenzia Masquerade, and it was pretty good. So do we want a top curve guy like Gatstaff Arsonist or another 2-drop? I think we probably want the top curve guy. He's also a werewolf, which we have at least one synergy for already, so I think we take him. He's a nice top curve. Probably going to be better than Kessig Direswine in our deck. Oh, God, Pyrehound number 3. That really makes me want to switch to blue-red spells so badly. Spiteful Motives is also really good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should have 6, right? Is one of them an enchantment? I'm probably missing something here. I think I got to take a third Pyrehound. Just, they get better in multiples. We can even just start changing how we're drafting. I love Spiteful Motives, but I'm going to take a third Pyrehound. I'm crazy for Pyrehound. Okay, Blood Mad Vampire or Bloodseeker. So the Bloodseeker came back to us. We do have one card with Madness, right? Malevolent Whispers. There's also a Howlpack Wolf, who's a wolf. So that might just be the pick, because now we're getting to where we do have several wolves. And a 3-mana 3/3 is not too shabby. So we can probably cut him. Green is actually continuing not to look all that open, so we could easily switch into sort of a red-blue spells deck that has that splashes stuff. So yeah, we'll take the Howlpack. Here we'll take Thornhide. Oh, we'll take a 2-drop away from somebody. I'll take another Reduce. So, and I'll take an Ember Eye Wolf. Glad he wheeled. He's a pretty good card to pick up that late if you have some werewolf synergies. So, like, if I could pick up some splashing, I could honestly just run, like, my 2 Rabid Bites and the Tireless Tracker, and then put back in some good blue cards. And we're suddenly like, a blue-red spells deck. We don't have, the Pyrehounds are our only payoffs for it at this point. Which, by the way, they're not wolves, they're hounds, unfortunately. But those are pretty good payoffs. Well, and now we got Fevered Visions. I don't know if I can say no to that. I really don't think I can. I think that's a sign that we need to be in blue-red spells. It's good in that deck. Of course, Voldaren Duelist is good as well. Blood Mad Vampire is fine. But Fevered Visions, man. We do need to find a way to splash the Tireless Tracker at least. Most likely, anyway, we'd like to do that. But now we're going to keep our eyes out for Niblis of Dusks, the 1/3 Vampire also with Prowess. Things like that, because this is good for helping you draw cards and stuff. So, okay, God, a 3rd Rabid Bite? That is crazy. So here's a Niblis. It's also another spell, but I think we already have several spells, right? We are probably going to end up not being able to play those cards, sadly. I think the Werewolf deck's probably open, but being honest with you, blue-red's my favorite color combination in Magic, and seeing the cards that we've been given, like the 3 Pyre Hounds, that kind of have to make it work, I feel like. So we could take another Dance, or we could take a Niblis or a Reduce, but I think we want the Niblis. We want more creatures. Like, the more creatures we have who like non-creature spells or instants and sorceries, the better. And I think that's what we take here. I do like Dance with Devils. Obviously, I already have one, but I'm going to take a creature here over it that makes our sort of plan a little better. Well, I think we probably take that here. It's, it'll go into either deck we end up in, first of all, but it's also just a good 2-drop who happens to be a wolf. Now we have Pack Guardian and Cult of the Waxing Moon, which really, really makes it seem like I should have been a werewolf deck, right? And I could still switch back to that. I mean, God, why do things have to be like this? It might be better to switch back to that. I mean, with the Rabid Bites, we're only losing a few spells, and we do lose our Niblis. I mean, here I would take Pack Guardian if I stayed in the werewolf deck. This is hard. This is a draft that is... I mean, Pack Guardian's the best card in this pack, and I'm going to take it. I keep sort of moving back and forth between things, which I'm sure is frustrating for you. It is for me as well. I mean, our Pyrehound's still good in this deck. We have enough spells that he's still good. Pour Over the Pages would be what I took here if I decided I was blue-red. But there's a Cult of the Waxing Moon, but we don't have anywhere. We have one werewolf, so it's actually not amazing. I feel like it's likely we pick up some werewolves. So here I'm kind of thinking, I'm going to take the Pour and see if we can make that work. And now there's a Geist Blast, you guys. Okay, I'm switching back again. We've been getting signals that both of these decks are open. I would love to find a way to splash. Yeah, give these back to me, please. Mad Prophet and Geist Blast are both good. Rush of Adrenaline, I guess, would be good in both decks, but I'm going to take Geist Blast here over just the win. There it is. There's a way to help us splash, and we're not really giving anything up, I don't think. So I think we take the stream. This pack is otherwise... I mean, Furtive Homunculus, I wouldn't mind, but... Okay, Sanguinary Mage. I think that's what we take here. Yeah, it is. Okay, so Harvest Hand or Uncaged Fury. Uncaged Fury gets pretty good with Pyre Hounds because they already have Trample. Yeah, I mean, if we splash green, we can also occasionally use his ability, which is fine. We still have a decent number of wolves in the deck. Freaking Uncaged Fury or Harvest Hand. I think we probably want the Fury for this deck. Yeah, here we'll take a Blood Mad Vampire. Here we'll take another Reduce. I don't really think we want to play 3, though. We may not even want to play 2. So I have just the Wind that has Madness, and I have Malevolent Whispers that has Madness. It's not too bad. So I think that's probably who I take. I take another Neonate here. We only ended up with one Niblis, but we did just pick up a Sanguinary Mage, which is pretty good. Ember-Eye Wolf might be on the chopping block now, since the Werewolf synergy we had isn't going to be online, or the Wolf synergy we had isn't going to be online very often. And I don't love the card in general, but what we want is the land that lets us search our library for a basic land, or another Woodland Stream. If we don't get those, Tireless Tracker's probably out. I mean, we could still totally switch into a werewolf deck. Is what's crazy, because we just don't have a ton of blue. But I mean, I think between picking up Geist Blast and Fevered Visions, we probably want to be playing these colors. I'll take the card. I'll put it in my sideboard. Senseless Rage is, sometimes playable, but I value cards that I'll occasionally actually use from my sideboard. Like, I'll side this in against someone who has what's it called? The plate Slayer's Plate, I think is what it is. Well, sure. More spells, the better. Okay. Yeah, I mean, red was stupid open, obviously. We got like all the red you could ever want. The other colors, well, there's another 2-drop. The other colors were not as clear. I think green. I think both green and blue were open, and it was just sort of came down to just what I wanted to do in a way. I think it's possible, especially because we saw 3 freaking Rabid Bites, that the Werewolf deck might have been better. But we actually didn't see like Halpack Resurgence, which is probably the best payoff card. So, and we just kept getting handed good cards that are payoff cards for blue-red. So it was. I think this is where we want to end up. We are going to have to run 2 reduces, I think. We just don't have that much removal. I mean, Dance with Devils is removal too, but... Okay. So we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 playable blue cards and 6 playable green cards. The rest of our deck is red. That much is clear. But I think with 3 Pyrehounds, this is what we want to be doing. And so all the cards down here, except for our Heirloom and our Fevered Visions, trigger Pyrehound, and the rest trigger, the other 2 also trigger Niblis of Dusk and Sanguinary Mage. So, is this a deck we want Neglected Heirloom in anymore? Probably. Malevolent Whispers. I'm less sure about that card. I'm also less sure about the Arsonists. It is a nice late game, but it's usually going to be our Pyrehounds that help us late game. So we can probably trim a few creatures. This deck doesn't need a ton of them. And the question is, do I like Ember Eye Wolf or Furtive Homunculus more? I think we probably do still run Woodland Stream just because it'll let us activate this thing's ability sometimes. We're not going to be able to splash Tireless Tracker very effectively, so I don't think I want to do it. So I think running a Woodland Stream makes sense because of Ulrich's Kindred's ability, and we have a few wolves at least. We have... Oh, Halpack Wolf's probably out because we ended up not being a hardcore werewolf deck. But we have 1, 2, 3. I mean, it can do it to itself. 4. I guess we just have 4, but it's probably still worth it. I mean, I don't have a 3-drop I'd rather put in here. I mean, Halpack Wolf is going to be worse basically always, so... So for me, Malevolent Whispers is on the chopping block. It's a good card to have as a sideboard card, but I don't love it. So we need to cut 3 more cards, basically. Ember Eye Wolf could also be on the chopping block. I mean, in a deck where I want to be casting a lot of instants and sorceries, he gets worse because I don't really want to be pumping a bunch of mana into him. So, yeah, I'll cut that. So we have Rush of Adrenaline and Uncaged Fury, but I think we want those in a deck with 3 Pyrehounds, a Sanguinary Mage, and not a Blood Mad Vampire, but a Niblis of Dusk. So the cool thing is we have Pour Over the Pages, which can let us do just the wind off of it. Having more 2-drops and lower is pretty good when you have Pour Over the Pages. I think we probably cut a Neonate. It is a low, nice low curve creature, but we don't have the synergies that make him really good. So in terms of Madness outlets, I have 1 Neonate, and that's it basically. Yeah, I mean I have Pour Over the Pages, but I'd have to have a bunch of mana when I play it to be able to do this. Okay, so that still means there's 10 cards that trigger Pyrehound and 12 that trigger my 2 creatures with prowess as well. So I think that's good. I think we do leave the Arsonist in. It's a nice, like, late top of the curve kind of card. I mean, and the Heirloom is solid on anybody, but, you know, it'll be nice on this since it has First Strike, things like that. So I do wish I'd taken that Spiteful Motives now that we saw. It would have been very good in our deck, but I kept seeing things that it made me think I wanted to try to play my tracker and stuff, but we didn't quite get there. So, I mean, the question now, I guess, I mean, I'm back on whether it's Furtive Homunculus or Ember Eye Wolf or Insolent Neonate. We want more. I mean, they're all kind of meh, so. This blocks, I guess, slightly better. It can block tokens at least. And, you know, he has a mana sink, but not a very good one. We do have the one werewolf payoff that will occasionally be online because we're going to run one woodland stream. Yeah. I think we probably just want the homunculus. I mean, I guess Ember Eye Wolf does have the very small synergy that I just mentioned, the going for it. But the homunculus actually trades up a little easier. I mean, it can kill creatures with 2 toughness without me having to put mana into it. So I think I'm going to go with him. Yeah. I think we want... We have a double blue, for God's sake, so we should probably go 9-7 even. We have a double red as well. Well, yeah, I guess this is a blue source, so 10-6 is good. We don't need, we don't need to cast Pour until the later part of the game anyway, so. All right, well, I think this is our deck. We sort of pivoted into a blue-red spells deck just because we got handed Fevered Visions and Geist Blast late, basically. And we didn't see the huge werewolf payoffs other than this Kindred. But I think our deck looks solid. 3 Pyrehounds is usually a good place to be. So we'll see how we do. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.